album is a gift to country music. It's my contribution, you know, like sort of my Kickstarter campaign. I said, this is my Nashville skyline. This is my my Sweethearts of the Rodeo. This is my modern sounds in country and western music, you know, Ray Charles album. So, and the list goes on. And so this is hopefully the first of many country albums, country flavored albums. In the future. So. I've always been a fan of country music, and I started listening to George Jones, listening to some of those records that he did in the early 70s, and boy, it was so soulful. The arrangements were wonderful. His voice, his singing is just so strong, and I think about the same age as I was and I am now, and when he was doing those albums. And so that kind of got me thinking about, well, what is next for me? What is next for Kevin? So living in New York for the last 5 years, and I was thinking, well, city, okay. I'm all about sort of yin yang, and so I thought, all right, city, now country, hence countryside, you know. My father, before he passed away, I went with my dad to China, to mainland China, with him and my brother, and he took me to the village that he grew up in. It was in the countryside. It was in deep in the fields of China, and it's very humbling for me. And so my father was a country boy in a way, I think, and I needed to see that side of me to kind of explore. I've always liked going out and camping and doing the things, you know, out in nature. So I decided to move down there. I just checked it out. I went down there and visited a friend of mine down there who was living there, who had just moved there maybe about 6 months before. And I saw how much I liked it, how much it had changed, how much that the city was, it did feel like it was about to change or was changing. I first went to Nashville in 1996 on my way to the Kerrville Folk Festival. And then I went down, you know, we went to the Bluebird open mic, me and a couple friends of mine. And that was all that was really there out on Hillsborough Avenue was the Bluebird. And then I went back there in 2002 and I saw more had changed. There was more coffee shops, kind of cosmopolitan, maybe not quite there yet, but I figured, well, then 09 came around and I visited and I said, all right, well, I'm sold. Actually, 08 I went down there, and then I moved in 09 June, so a little over 5 years now I've been a Nashvilleite, Nashvilleian, Nashvillager. This process was different because I really got to do the record I wanted to make. I'm doing the record for the first time that I feel that time and money is not holding me back. I have a little bit of free time to do this album. I don't have to tour right now. Being able to play away aside from my own gig with Kev Mo, which I'm doing in 2 weeks, is exciting too, because it only makes me a better musician, and also gives me sort of fresh airs to come back to this album and complete it in September. So, but that being said, yeah, things are very different in a sense of, and it's in many ways it's not changed. It's the same approach. I went in with my favorite musicians that I could call at the time to come in and do the album, and then from then I took the record and brought it into here, and started overdubbing and finishing things. I even took it up to Boston, where I was in a house in the attic, staying there for about a week and setting up a little Pro Tools rig and recording guitar tracks and things like that. So out in the countryside. So but it's different in a sense that it is done in the country feeling. I wanted the album, no matter where I did it, where I was laying down a track or vocal, that it had to be in Nashville, of course, but also kind of out in the country, and Nashville is that. But even when I was in Massachusetts or and laying down tracks, I wanted that feeling, that peace of mind, sort of as the inner line, sort of inner theme going through all the songs. And I think when the music is played that way and sung that way, it speaks for itself. I think stylistically, I was listening to a lot of George Jones records, and I just loved the simplicity of the chord changes. And then what really, I think, changed my life was Ray Charles, that movie Ray, and being exposed to the music that I really love, and always loved, but never explored at such depth. Listening to all his albums, and all these great records that he had done, Crying Time, and even into the 80s, where he was actually doing a lot of country music, but not in the Ray Charles fashion, but actually in the country fashion. The arrangements and everything. And he was adapting as a singer. He was simply adapting as a stylist. And he does it pretty well, pretty gracefully, pretty impressively. And that's when I started to think about writing in that style, like writing my own material. Like Ray Charles he wrote a little bit, of course, but he'd take songs that were, of course, country standards, and he would make them his own. And I always thought, well, I'd like to write my own songs, but then make them my own too, if that makes any sense. So it starts with writing a country song, like a classic 1, 4, 5, 3 chords in the truth, right? Or as they say, 4 chords in the truth. I don't know. I was introduced to Chester Thompson, who played for Genesis for many years, in Weather Report, and the guy's just a legend in jazz and rock, and he plays on the album. He's playing on every song, mostly every song. Vale Johnson on bass, who was my bandmate with Keb Mo for almost 2 years, and still is my bandmate when he's available. He plays for Kenny G. And we have Chris Rodriguez, who is the like Superman in my eyes. I met him through Keb Mo also. I was doing a monthly gig at the Fontanelle every first Monday of every month with Keb Mo and his blues show. And Chris Rodriguez was the lead guitar player in the band, and we became friends immediately. And I recognized him because I had just seen him in a Keith Urban DVD that I own, and he's been Keith Urban's guy for 5 years, and now plays for Kelly Clarkson, and he plays in the rock world, in these Boston boy eyes. It's like, wow, I got stars in my eyes sometimes, but he's my friend, and that's why I'm here. It's like that's why I'm doing this. It's like, why aren't you doing it if you can't work with some of the best people and the most professional people too? So and then of course the hero in my eyes, sort of my I guess you'd say he's my Wade Boggs, is Buck Reed. It kind of looks like a little bit like he's got the mustache at least. Buck Reed is now on tour with I Love It, but he's on pedal steel. He is the one who really brings out that countryside in my music and my expression. I don't know, I couldn't put out this record without Buck Reed, and he just really understood the music, and it was a good marriage. This might as well be a Buck Reed album, because it's the songs almost seem to be the perfect marriage for what he does, and I'm can't wait for people to hear it. The one song that I can think of that I'm excited for people to listen to, although sometimes it's kind of my syrupy side, but there's something in me that's always going to be loving like New Edition and those R&B groups that Babyface and soul music. I think from Michael Jackson to whoever it is today, Usher. It's like but there's a song on the album called Dreaming About Tomorrow, and that song is special on several points. One, I think it really defines that what I'm calling the countryside. It's got that classic country and western swing that I was really going for, and in a way it was new to Chester too. You know what I mean? And Vale, like these are guys, the LA guys, but that Buck Reed, you know, it's just the anchor of really giving us that flavor, that country flavor. And I was exposed to that Ray Charles and George Jones. I mean, I was warming up to that moment in the studio. I really like it. It's special. It has that country, you know, because in 20 years, that's one of those songs I think in 20 years people are going to listen to again and go, you know, I don't even know if I'll be still here in 20 years, but, you know, that song will be around. Right. And as there are other songs, I mean, every song has its own story, but that one just comes to mind. And I got the singing dog named Monk. See, Monk, he sings, right? Go on, show him how you do it. Sing, sing. You gotta get really into it. Woo!
Do it, Monk. Do it.
Do it, Monk. Sing. You can't have too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
And I think I've enjoyed. I'm so grateful, you know. Okay, and then the lights will be off.
Yeah.
And then I will pack up, and who knows what's happening. But in 3 months to a year, I will not be here. I may be living in Boston, Massachusetts by the time you see this. Kevin So will not be based out of Nashville, Tennessee, because he has to be based in Boston because he's, you know, taking care of his mom.
Yeah.
You're in New York 1 minute, and then you're in Nashville the other, and you're still that kid from Boston, and I'm going back home.
Yeah.
And a lot of exciting opportunities are ahead, and you know, now it's time to kind of give birth to the music and let people kind of absorb this music, and hopefully it'll be healing for people. I hope people enjoy it. I put a lot of my time and feeling into it, and it's sort of like, boy, I can't wait to play it live. You know, like I can't wait to get out and put it out there.
Yeah.
The song and play with it, and then it becomes a performance thing where I love to perform too. So, but that'll happen. You know, first things first.
Yeah.
Got to take care of mom.
Yeah.
The question is, do you tell them that you're moving to Boston via this video, or do you tell them, you know, sooner?
Well,
see, now we have a little
so,
secret.
So it's like
we're exposing it now.
It's like, okay.
Exactly.
But I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's a secret now between you and me, and then now it's like, okay, you know,
it's on tape, so you have you all have the power to edit it out. So
I know everybody has the power to edit. And yes. Okay. Hi, Mom.